Good morning, everyone. The time is now 9:30. We'll call the February 13, 2018 meeting of the Millcreek Township Board of Supervisors to order. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
At this time, the board will take public comment on agenda items other than development and rezoning applications. Hearing none, the next item on the agenda will be the approval of the minutes. Gentlemen, I do have a request. I apologize. I only recently reviewed the minutes, and I did find a couple of errors in some quotes. I know our last meeting we had some pretty substantial debate that I think we all want to make sure is reflected accurately in the minutes. I'd appreciate a motion to table the minutes, approval of minutes until our next meeting.
I'll second.
Will that be the motion? Is there a second?
I'll second.
You moved. I'll second. Okay. All right. Mr. Groh?
I'll vote yes, but I just want to make a point known here is that the minutes of a meeting, if I understand correctly, should reflect the actions taken, and let's not get tied up in word semantics. I know we want to review the tape of the meeting as to what was said and maybe get the exact language. So just keep in mind what the minutes, what their purpose is. So we'll get this one accommodated for our next meeting. So I will vote yes.
Mr. Bach?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Thank you, gentlemen. Next item on the agenda is the approval of bills. So I hear a motion to pay the bills.
I'll move to approve the bills.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Grove?
Yes.
Mr. Bach?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next on our agenda is listed bids and quotations. First is the Asbury Playground from the Parks and Recreation Department. Mr. Grove, would you like to go over that?
Give me a second here. This comes from Ashley Marsteller, our Parks Department Director. She'd like the following item brought up. Attaches a quote for installation and the surfacing of the All for Play unit that was previously purchased for Asbury Park. Play and Park is a Playcore company, which the same company that manufactured the Play unit. Play and Park also participates in the CoStar's purchasing program. The crew that would handle the installation has over 15 years experience. They also would be able to have the unit installed no later than the end of June of this year. So her suggestion is to accept a quote of $42,507.60 and work with Play and Park to complete the installation of both the Play unit and the poured rubber surface for the Play area. It would also satisfy our ADA compliance obligations for Asbury Park. Bidding Recreation, that's the company we bought it from, quoted the initial installation project of $50,954. So all said and done, we're saving over $8,000. So my request here in the form of a motion is to approve the installation and surfacing to Play and Park structures for the amount of $42,507.60. And once again, that is a CoStar's company.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any questions? All right, Mr. Grove?
I vote yes.
Mr. Bach?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next item is the ID card printer from the Office of Emergency Management. The director is present. Mr. Exley, would you like to discuss your request?
Sure. Good morning, gentlemen. Late last year, we determined that the current ID printer that we had for the township was nearing the end of its lifespan and obsolete. So we budgeted for a new ID card printer this year. Our intention with this is to make the ID cards more accessible to the department heads. The software for this ID card printer is also in the cloud, so it allows, instead of them having to wait for one of our staff to be available, department heads will be able to create IDs for their departments at their need. With that, we also are located within the Office of Emergency Management, a centrally located area within the township, and we're coming up with a standard operating procedure as far as who exactly needs to wear their IDs when. For example, anytime that a township employee would be out in the field interacting with a member of the community at their residence so that they know that they're an official township representative. We received 3 quotes on this machine. One was from ID Zone at $3,495. One was from ID Wholesaler at $4,260. And the other was from Easy Badges at $3,578. $4,000 was budgeted for this project. So we're recommending that we go with ID Zone for $3,495.
Any questions from the board?
No.
Is there a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve the purchase of the Fargo DTC 4250E dual-sided ID card system from ID Zone.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Groh?
I vote yes.
Mr. Bach?
Yes.
And I vote yes. The next item are dump trucks from the Streets Department. Mr. Snyder?
Yeah, we were seeking permission to buy 2 international dump trucks. This would be the complete truck with the plow and frame.
Could you use the mic a little more here?
We're seeking permission to buy 2 international dump trucks. This would be the complete trucks with the plow, frame, and everything else that goes with it. These would be a CoStar's purchase price, and I believe we're at $360,000.
That is CoStar's price.
Yes,
Okay, and of course, these were in our budget for this year, too.
yes, they were budgeted items.
Okay.
And that would be from 5-Star International.
Through 5-Star, yes, local company here.
Okay, just to clarify, it's $370,000, Gary? That we have on
Yes,
the list here.
yeah, that's right.
All right, is there a motion to approve?
Yeah, I'll move to approve the purchase of those 2 international dump trucks, as quoted here, $370,000.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any questions from the board? All right, Mr. Groh?
I vote yes.
Mr. Bach?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next item is the portable pipe threader from the Public Works Department. Mr. Groh or Mr. Snyder want to?
Go ahead.
Yes, this is for the sewer department. The pipe threader and unit that they had, the power unit, is over 50 years old and it's just died. So we're seeking permission to buy that from ERR on 12th Street. I'll be honest with you, I can't remember what the price was. Do you have that, John?
Yeah, I do have it here, $1,963.05. It's from Supply.
Right.
Over on West 12th.
All right, is there any questions from the board?
None from me.
Motion to approve?
I'll move to approve the purchase of the pipe threader from Supply at a cost of $1,963.05.
Is there a second?
I will second.
Mr. Groh?
I vote yes.
Mr. Bach?
Yes.
And I vote yes. And last item for Public Works is the rooftop unit replacement.
Yes, this would be for buildings and grounds. For this building, the rooftop units are well over their life cycle, to say the least. So we replaced one last year. We'd like to replace another one this year from Johnson Control. That would also be a CoStar's price.
And that's priced at $76,995.
Yes.
Any questions?
I mean, that is CoStar's, as you
Yes,
mentioned.
that is
Yes, that is
CoStar's.
CoStar's, yeah. Okay.
Is there a motion to approve?
Yeah, I'll move to approve the purchase and installation of rooftop unit number 1 for the replacement here through Johnson Controls, CoStar's contract, price of $76,995, complete.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Groh?
Yes.
Mr. Bach?
Yes.
And I vote yes. And last item under business quotations, 2018 codification supplement approval. This is a service payment for general code, which is an online agency that we use for updating our ordinances and codifications on our website. This is our annual fee for maintenance and update, and also for the provision of printed copies of the code. The cost this year will be $7,800. Is that accurate, Cheryl? This is the most current. Any questions from the board?
No.
No.
All right. Is there a motion to approve?
Yeah, I'll move to approve the purchase not to exceed $7,800 to general code for our updated codification books.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Grove?
I vote yes.
Mr. Bach?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next item on our agenda is a public hearing on proposed ordinance 2018-1, the proposed sign ordinance amendment, and I will throw it over to Solicitor Mr. Shaw for a brief explanation.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This is an ordinance amendment to the sign ordinance to remove the limitation of two signs, on two temporary signs in the ordinance. Because it's part of the zoning code, there is required to be a public hearing before it's considered by the supervisors. So now would be the time to have that public hearing and ask if there are any individuals present who would like to offer testimony with respect to this particular ordinance.
Thank you, Mark. With that, I'll declare the public hearing open. Is there anyone who would like to address the issue? Any comments or concerns regarding the amendment to the sign ordinance? Any comments from the board?
Glad we're getting it done.
All right, hearing none, declare the public hearing closed. Next item is the action on ordinance 2018-1, an ordinance to amend certain provisions of the Millcreek Township zoning code relating to signs. As previously discussed with Mr. Shaw, this is an amendment to remove the two temporary sign limit related to our recent legal settlement. Do I hear a motion to approve ordinance 2018-1?
I will move to approve ordinance 2018-1.
Is there a second?
I will second.
Any questions or comments from the board? All right, Mr. Groh?
I vote yes.
Mr. Bach?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next on the agenda is Resolution 2018-R7, a resolution pursuant to Resolution 2015-R20.
Excuse me, Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry to interrupt. There is
Oh, I apologize.
item number 7 with, I'm sorry, item number 9 with respect to the burning
The
ordinance.
proposed burning ordinance, I apologize. Thank you, Mr. Shaw. Item 9 is the new amendment, new/amended ordinance and review of proposed burning ordinance, and I will throw it over to Mr. Exley.
Mr. Shaw had asked me to go over briefly the changes to the ordinance. The ordinance was decided when we looked at our ordinances that we had and we spoke to members of the community, our police department. We found out that our previous ordinance was at sometimes difficult to make it through and understand correctly, even for the enforcement officers that were out there. So we set a goal last year to be able to go through the ordinance and make it more understandable, and we feel that that will help better compliance with the ordinance as well. This also brings us into compliance with the DEP regulations as far as recycling goes, so that we can maintain our funding statuses for the recycling program within the township as well. Excuse me. Some of the changes that have been made are we better defined what the type of fires that were permitted. Recreational fires and cooking fires are permitted within the township now with the following regulations. Each of these fires may not exceed 3 foot in diameter by 2 feet in height. Brings us in line with the International Fire Code. You are also not permitted to burn any prohibited materials, which are defined as solid waste, municipal waste, recyclable materials, or leaf waste. So basically clean, dry wood within inside these fires. You must have somebody at least 16 years of age monitoring the fire at all times, and you must have the appropriate agent to be able to put out the fire in the event that the wind kicks up or something happens that you need to put out the fire quickly. In addition to that, we maintained a temporary burn ban authorization. We also placed we maintained the bonfire regulation where community groups and whatnot can apply for certain permits to be able to do bonfires as well. And another change that we made, again, our interest here is education, not punishment, but we did revamp the fine structure as well to bring it more in line with current fines that are out there, so that if we have somebody who is violating the burn ordinance continuously and needs to be brought back in line in that direction, we can do that with those enforcement actions as well. Is there any questions from the board?
Thank you, Matt. Any questions from the board or comments?
No.
A lot of work on that. Thank you, Matt and Mark, for the work you did on it. Thanks.
Just to clarify, we have formally advertised the ordinance at this point, Cheryl, and the ordinance is available on our website.
Yes, I think it's been up on the website for about a week or so.
Okay, so the ordinance is available for public comment on millcreektownship.com. If anyone has any questions or concerns, I believe, Matt, they can contact your office, give us a call or send an email to the Department of Emergency Management and Code Enforcement for any comments. And it's the intention of the board to formally adopt that ordinance at our next meeting, which is February 27th.
27th, yeah, 27th.
Thank you, Matt.
Yes, sir.
Now, Resolution 2018-R7, a resolution pursuant to Resolution 2015-R20 in the Municipal Records Manual to approve proposed disposition of certain township records. And the records today are, it's a routine matter of the MPD dash cam videos to be deleted between February 13th and February 27th, once they pass the retention period. Any questions from the board? No. Is there a motion to approve Resolution 2018-R7?
Yeah, I'll move to approve resolution 2018-R7, disposition of the records as attached.
Is there a second?
I will second.
Mr. Grove?
I vote yes.
Mr. Bach?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next item on the agenda is Resolution 2018-R8, a resolution to amend and restate regulations establishing amounts of fees and deposits required allowed under state law and various township code provisions. Essentially, this is a resolution to update the township fee structure for various township services. We've revamped and consolidated all of those fee schedules into one document, both for convenience of the public and for operations here at the township. I don't know if there's any questions or comments from the board. Any comments, like Mr. Shaw?
No, we simply, there were, over the years, there were various resolutions that would adopt various types of fees, and we try to consolidate these all into one, so it's much easier to use and frankly, much easier to keep track of when we're trying to figure out if there's a fee that applies to a certain event.
A little bit of work to get them all together, but now they're under one document there, and that's a good idea.
All right. Is there a motion to approve Resolution 2018-R8?
Yeah, I'll move to approve the resolution 2018-R8 dealing with our fees for the township.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Grove?
I vote yes.
Mr. Bach?
Yes.
And I vote yes. And the updated fee schedule is available here at the Township Building or online at millcreektownship.com. Next item, PennDOT sidewalk maintenance agreements. This covers the two projects the township is partnering with PennDOT. The first project is the Peach Street Safety and Mobility Improvement Project, which includes traffic signal work and sidewalk construction on Peach Street in the Coons Road area. And also, the other project is the SR 4012 Interchange Road Improvement, which is currently ongoing as a roadway project, but this agreement would also include sidewalks as part of that project. Brief history of the issue: about 2 years ago, the board successfully petitioned the Metropolitan Planning Organization to award funds to the Peach Street Mobility Improvement Project, which includes essentially filling in a sidewalk gap where there were 2 fatalities in the last few years just south of Coons Road. The funding was approved. However, there's been some issues with PennDOT policies related to maintenance agreements when the state constructs sidewalks along state roadways. Stalled that project and also stalled the sidewalk projects on Interchange Road. Last April, the board petitioned the Secretary of Transportation, Leslie Richards, to request her involvement in the issue to try and find some flexibility, try and work with us a little more closely as partners. And I'm very pleased to say that the Secretary was directly involved, reopened the issue, the agreements, and I think we've reached a compromise that is mutually beneficial both to the state and Millcreek Township. And that, also want to announce that contract language is going to be utilized as the new template for these kind of agreements statewide. So I don't know if there's any comments from the board on this issue, or?
Yeah, actually, first of all, John, I've got and Mark Shaw, kudos out to you guys for working this thing, and I mean that sincerely, that your involvement with the MPO. PennDOT is difficult to work with at times, and I think you've heard me say that before, and I think that we've come to, I think, a good agreement on this, and it took a lot of work on behalf of John and Mark Shaw in drafting this, a lot of communications and stuff, so hopefully we'll get this taken care of and we never have a situation like this again. And of course, it's set a template for what they're going to do throughout Pennsylvania now too.
Yes.
And so their legal counsel in Harrisburg looked at it a little different than our legal counsel here does locally. So kudos to everybody involved on that. So.
Yeah, I wanted to echo those sentiments as well. Thanks to John and Mark for putting in a lot of hard work. It's been a 2-year process here, and we've all traveled that intersection a lot and see all the pedestrian traffic there and how dangerous it is. So this is going to get done, and rightfully so.
Mark, any comments?
The only, actually, a technical comment I would add is, in both agreements, we need to identify, I think we had talked about Ann Sokol as being the contact for the township.
Oh, yeah.
So your motion to approve should include that she be identified as the contact person for the township. And again, I think the agreement was a compromise. I think both sides moved to a point where they were both comfortable in terms of the nature of the agreement and the language, and I think it's ultimately good for the community. So,
Absolutely. Do I hear a motion to approve Resolution 2018 R9, which is a resolution to approve the sidewalk agreements for the sidewalk maintenance agreements for the Peach Street project and the Interchange Road project, also authorizing Ann Sokol from our engineering office as the primary contact and project manager for the township.
Yeah, I'll move to approve that. Now, the resolution doesn't have Ann identified, at least I can't see it on there. Can we have that amended to include
sure,
that?
we can do that.
Should we do that? Okay.
Yeah, that would make it easier.
Okay. Hey, I'll move to approve Resolution 2018 R9, and this is the sidewalk agreement with PennDOT for both of those projects.
Is there a second?
I will second.
Mr. Grove?
I vote yes.
Mr. Bach?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. And I also want to note the Interchange Road sidewalks per PennDOT are estimated to be completed this summer with the roadway improvements on Interchange Road. The Peach Street sidewalk project is anticipated to be completed next summer, be 2019.
If I could just add one more thing. With respect to Interchange Road, we are waiting from PennDOT a funding agreement. I think that project attaches with it a 20% match from the township for the sidewalk. So we haven't received that yet, but that's still another component, at least with respect to Interchange Road, that we're still waiting for.
Thank you, Mark. Next item on the agenda is financial security release request, Unit 800 retail expansion for Millcreek Mall Corporation developer. Mr. Morris.
This involved the new Boscov's store. The letter of credit was held by First Merit Bank, check number 349101 in the amount of $65,155. Everything has been completed satisfactorily, and we're recommending release of this financial security.
Okay.
Any questions or comments by the board?
Nothing for me.
We'll hear a motion to approve the financial security release request for Millcreek Mall Corporation.
Yes, I will move to approve the release of the financial security of this, as was stated by Mr. Morris. This is for the Boscov store.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Mr. Grove?
Yes.
Mr. Bach?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next item is the January building construction report. Mr. Grove?
Okay, in the month of January, of course, it was a slow month. Under the residential portion, we had construction value of permits $191,300. And in the commercial $41,500 for a total of $232,800. And we collected $1,200 in zoning permit fees. Of course, as I stated, that is a seasonal matter. Of course, this will be increasing here as time goes on. This is available in the zoning in the engineering office, and also I think it's going to be online later this week, I believe. So,
Thank you, Mr. Groh. Next item is communications. Treasurer communications. Mark, anything?
Nothing further.
Okay. Next item is the reappointment to the Fire and EMS Commission from the Office of Emergency Management.
Gentlemen, in January of 2018, Ms. Rebecca Kessler's term, hers was the shortest term on the Fire and EMS Commission, expired. We spoke with Ms. Kessler, and she indicated her willingness to continue to serve. It would be an additional 3-year term for the Fire and EMS Commission. This is an appointment. The 3 citizen members are appointments directly by the Board of Supervisors. So our recommendation is if the Board of Supervisors, if it's your pleasure, to reappoint her to the Fire and EMS Commission as the citizen member for a 3-year term.
Any questions or comments by the board?
No.
okay.
Is there a motion to reappoint Ms. Rebecca Kessler to the
Yes.
Millcreek Fire and EMS Commission?
Yeah, I will move to reappoint Rebecca Kessler to a 3-year term on the Emergency Medical and Fire Commission services.
Is there a second?
I will second.
Mr. Groh?
Yes?
Mr. Bach?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Next is a training request from the traffic unit.
I can get that, unless Gary, I'll take it. You want me to, you want, okay. This comes from Dick Whitbread, Township Traffic Engineer. He is requesting permission for Joe Bizzaro and Jeff Tenney, who both work in the sign department, to attend 2 LTAP classes for curbs on local roads, the issues and safety tools on March 1st, 2018 at Green Township Municipal Building, and the stop signs and intersection traffic controls May 24th this year at the Vernon Township Municipal Building from 8 until 12. These courses are offered through LTAP at no cost to the township. So I'll put that in the form of a motion to approve their attendance at both of those courses.
Is there a second?
I will second.
Mr. Groh?
I vote yes.
Mr. Bach?
Vote yes.
And I vote yes. Next item is a staff approval request from Human Resource Manager. Gentlemen, we have here, Diane writes, have the following, please have the following added to the agenda for approval at the February 13th meeting. We have 2 promotions that will take effect on March 1st. First is Matt Waldinger, promotion to the Director of Planning and Development, with a salary increase to $77,476.79, effective March 1st. Promotion of Ann Sokol to Township Engineer, and a salary increase to $77,951.03, effective March 1st. And we also have a merit increase for Matt Puz Jr., a new zoning development officer, due to his successful completion of his ICC zoning inspector certificate, which would be a 1% increase to his salary to increase it to $55,550, effective retroactively to February 2nd. Any questions from the board?
None for me.
Well, then I'll make the motion to approve those 3 salary increases and promotions.
Okay, and I'll second that.
Mr. Groh?
I vote yes.
Mr. Bach?
I vote yes.
And I vote yes. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that part of this promotion is because of the retirement of our illustrious engineer, Mr. Rick Morris.
Rick Morris, end of this year.
So Rick, I think
End of this month, I'm sorry.
you're stuck with 1 more meeting with us, I think, right?
How many days and hours and minutes, Rick?
And he's still working very hard right now. Seriously, right to the end there. picking up,
Absolutely.
You know, letting people know what is hanging out there. I appreciate that, Rick. Thank you. Thank you. That's right.
Next item is executive sessions. I want to inform the public, the board did hold executive sessions on January 26th, February 1st, February 8th, to discuss routine personnel and legal issues with our solicitor and administrative teams. Next is the Millcreek Township Fire Police appointment, Office of Emergency Management.
There was a little confusion in this appointment between the Office of Emergency Management that operates the team that the individual will be serving for and the police department. During our directors meeting on Monday, we determined with Chief Height the proper process to go through. So the recommendation, I believe, is although the proxy here will be directly coming from Chief Height, to appoint John Grow to the Millcreek Township Fire Police for the 929 team, which is our township emergency response team. John has helped us out on numerous incidents, has gone out on his own over a weekend and taken the fire police basic class, which makes him eligible for that. All clearances have been obtained and were successful, so our recommendation is that he be appointed to the Millcreek Township Fire Police.
I'm getting some smiles from Gary Bear out there. But, I've only been doing this a couple years now. I just never made it formal, so.
Well, I just want to throw it at Mr. Shaw procedurally, that this is not a paid position. This
Correct.
is an appointed position.
There's no conflict or issues with John serving as a fire police person and being a supervisor.
All right. Well, I'll make the motion to appoint John Grow as a member of the fire police team for our 929 team.
I will second.
Mr. Grow?
Should I abstain or?
Yeah, I think it's
I think I'll abstain from that one there.
Mr. Bogg?
Yes.
Thank you.
And I vote yes. Do we need to swear you in, John?
We can do that another time. I don't need to do that right now. We can do it later today.
Okay.
All right.
Be happy to do that.
Okay.
All right, next is the Millcreek Police Department request from Chief Height. I'll throw it over to Mr. Bach.
Thank you, John. I have several requests from Chief Height for approval. Number one, permission to begin the process of hiring 3 candidates from the 2018 hiring eligibility list. If approved, the top 3 eligible candidates would be given conditional offer of employment. Background investigation, as well as a physical and psychological evaluation, would then be completed prior to officially being hired as a probationary officer. Number 2, permission for the purchase of 4 2018 Ford Interceptor SUVs from TriStar Motors of Blairsville, Pennsylvania. Vehicles which would be purchased under CoStar contract 013-146. Vehicles are $29,550 each. The emergency lighting, storage compartments, and installation without computer equipment is $10,412. Therefore, 4 vehicles without computer is $159,848. Number 3, permission for the 2 CVSA examiners, those are commonly known as polygraph examiners, to attend recertification training in Columbus, Ohio, May 15th to the 17th. Travel will be by department vehicle. Estimated costs are $1,782. And the 4th request, permission for 1 officer to attend the arson detection and fire course at the Pennsylvania State Fire Academy in Lewistown, PA, March 26th through the 30th. Travel will be by department vehicle. Estimated cost $1,168.25. And the final request, permission for Chief Height and 1 officer to attend the Pennsylvania Law Enforcement Accreditation Training Conference in Harrisburg in March. Travel by department vehicle. Estimated cost $1,004.50. Put these in the form of a motion.
Any questions from the board?
No, not for me.
Is there a second?
Yeah, I'll second that.
Mr. Groh?
I vote yes.
Mr. Bach?
Yes.
And I vote yes. The only comment I would have is procedurally, Mr. Zakrzewski, should we be including things like the vehicle in bids and quotations on the agenda rather than communications?
Probably because that's a CoStar's contract.
Just can advise.
Yeah, let's
For
not
future.
Next is the Student Ambassador Report.
The girls McDowell Varsity Cheer Squad took 5th in the national competition this past weekend in Disney World. So if you see any of the girls on the cheer squad, just make sure to tell them congratulations.
Okay,
Thank you.
thanks, Aaron.
Next is Solicitor Communications. Any good news this week, Mark?
Nothing on my end.
Which is good
No
news.
good or bad news.
All right. Excellent. Right to Know report, Cheryl?
For the month of January, we had 8 requests. 2 were granted, 4 were partially granted, 2 were denied due to no records existing. It took a total of 14 hours to process.
Okay. Anything for the good of the order from the board?
Yeah, I just wanted to add one thing. Of course, we mentioned that Rick Morris is retiring at the end of February. Also, from our police department, Lieutenant Mike Dugan is also retiring. And he has, 35 years, I believe, to be correct? He's been around here for a while, and he's going to be leaving us. And that's why you saw us hiring 3 officers. It's not just to replace him. No, we have other officers that are retiring, so that's why the 3 of them are being brought up there. But in case somebody wants to do a story about Rick retiring after 20 years, and also with Mike Dugan after, I think, 35, they're good stories. They're good people we're going to be losing. So.
Mr. Bach,
Nothing.
well, I guess that we should clarify those 3 hires are, it's not an expansion of the force, it's replacement of retiring
Or
individuals.
retirements, yeah. Everyone's a retirement, so.
Right, and well, one is
Or it is
for
our-
Nate Spiker, who is our current school resource officer
that's
at
right, yeah.
McDowell.
Part of that agreement with the
Part of the agreement, so one of the new officers will be brought in to replace Nate.
Gentlemen, the only thing I have to add, communications. The board's aware, on February 6th, we submitted a letter to Secretary Dennis Davin of the Department of Community and Economic Development for the state to request consideration of our Presque Isle Gateway District to be included in the governor's designations of opportunity zones in the state. I know we're all aware of that. The letter's been sent, but just want to make sure it's documented in the minutes that the township did proceed with that request. Briefly, opportunity zones are a new federal tax program that provides incentives for investors to place funds into redevelopment projects and startup businesses in what are designated as opportunity zones. We identified 3 census tracts in Millcreek Township that qualify for the program. Those 3 tracts coincide with our Gateway to Presque Isle District, which is the focus point of the Embrace Millcreek Plan. So we are requesting the governor's favorable consideration of this designation to help spur some private investment in those areas. So I just want to inform the board and the public of that action.
That's right.
With that, citizens to be heard. Any comments, questions, concerns from the public today? All right. No other business to be conducted. I call for a motion to adjourn.
I'll move to adjourn at 10:08.
Second?
I will second.
All right, we are adjourned. Thank you, everybody.
You're watching the Millcreek Government Channel, powered by WQLN Public Media.